Now, me being me, I like to bring up a good quote or a proverb every now and then. One quote I remember in an old high school diary that stuck with me for years is, "It's better to ask twice than to be lost once." Even Albert Einstein, everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it'll live its whole life believing that it's stupid. But have you ever heard someone quote something truly awe-inspiring and you said, "Wow, was that from a Shakespearean play? Which historical person said that?" Then they reply with, "Nah, actually I got it from a video game, mate." Surprised? Behind the facade created by those who overgeneralize video games as nothing but time wasters and influences of violence, there are some games that are surprisingly insightful. Some games, in addition to their immersive storytelling, also provide some perceptive and even thought-provoking words of wisdom. Sometimes the things that games tell us and teach us might end up changing the way you see things and how you tackle the real world. So join me as we take an in-depth and somewhat philosophical observation of just a few of my favourites. Here are some words of wisdom in video games.
Hit the streets.
When you play the World Tour in Street Fighter VI, you'll encounter several of the classical world warriors from previous games who teach you a thing or two about their unique fighting styles. You'll also notice that your character has a tendency to stumble and seemingly make a fool of themselves, and whenever this happens I find myself curling up and dying of secondhand embarrassment every time.
Move your body! Come on! Let me see it! No.
Will you get a hold of yourself, man? Thankfully, most of your teachers are, as they should be, patient and understand that these things will happen. Famous sumo wrestler Edmund Honda especially knows this. After he knocks you effortlessly to the ground upon enrollment, he has this to say.
What's wrong? That all you got? Nobody ever got strong without losing. Don't lose hope.
Now, normally when someone fails at something, they tend to be embarrassed because their immediate worry is, "Oh god, people are watching me fail and now they're going to laugh at me and tell me I'm stupid and that I should quit because I've made a total fool of myself and I should never try anything new again because I'm a complete and utter failure." Whoa. File a restraining order on those inner demons, Chief. Yes, if you're anything like me, you might be a bit of a perfectionist. To this day, I'm still trying to knock off the habit of giving up on something if I'm not immediately good at it. Many of us see failure and setbacks as a looming sign to take that goal we aspired to reach and throw it in the bin. But good old E. Honda, the absolute lad, he reminds us that that's not the case. Losing is a natural part of the journey, but unfortunately a lot of people and certain forms of media have mistaken it for a forbidden, even taboo event to ever transpire upon us and should be avoided at all costs, lest we face the whip. Proverbial, or hopefully not otherwise. Now, when I talk about losing, I'm not just talking about video games. This could apply to anything. Local tournaments, whether it's physical sports, esports, even job interviews, learning an instrument, dating, rejection, and just failure in general. When I started playing Tetris, I didn't have a clue what I was doing, and only a couple of years ago, through multiple attempts, I managed to get Grandmaster rank on the first Tetris Grandmasters game. I've still got a long ways to go if I want to get the same rank on TGM too. Anyway, the point is, when you want to get invested in something, you'd better be prepared to fail. Yes, there is that rare occasion where you have a talent for something. You might pick this new thing up really easily and impress those around you, and if you do, great, but if you don't, it's understandable that you might fret. Some of us can jump to the conclusion that,
well, I'm not talented enough, so I'm just wasting my time.
But in reality, talent is just a small head start, and it means nothing if you rest on your laurels and rely on that alone. Regardless of where you are, there's always room to improve. Learn where you went wrong and figure it all out. No martial artist or master has ever polished their skill without messing up somewhere. Nobody ever beat Dark Souls without getting absolutely mauled at least once, and anyone who says otherwise either used a walkthrough or they're most likely lying out of their arse. Don't be fooled by those who laugh at you for falling flat on your face, for this is merely a projection of their insecurities as they think, thank God it's not me who's the center of attention right now. If you truly want something, you'd better be prepared to fumble, even in the most spectacular fashion possible. Next thing you know, you might end up in the exact same spot as E. Honda, watching others fail too and reminding them that nobody ever got strong without losing and to not lose hope. Cheers, E. Honda. Doubt, especially self-doubt, when faced with adversity and uncertainty, will tell you not to bother. It'll tell you there is no point in trying. It'll tell you that you'll only end up getting hurt or that it won't work out. It takes all of your past wounds, starts seeing patterns, and thinks that everything will remain an eternal pattern of failure. And because it's our minds telling us this, we tend to be very quick to believe that. So Klonoa 2 Lunatia's Veil, one of my all-time favourite childhood games, has our floppy-eared protagonist with his newfound companions Lolo and Popka, ringing 4 bells across the world of Lunatia to help prevent the rise of a seemingly foreboding 5th bell from revealing itself and bringing sorrow to the land. During this, Lolo becomes a fully fledged priestess. However, along the way she experiences what I can only interpret as what we call imposter syndrome, as she realises she didn't go through this process alone, as she merely powered Klonoa's wind ring which helped sound the bells. She gets visions, possibly flashbacks of other priestesses who would call her a failure. She starts to doubt herself.
Can I swim down? Such a leona. Anjanata. Hatu Clara. Sim Shavuot. Come Lolo.
And when Klonoa has to pass the test of the old tree by defeating a giant egg monster which eventually cracks and he's powerless to fight it, it takes Popka to snap Lolo out of her moment of self-pity and help Klonoa in passing the test of the old tree. It's after the boss battle and passing this test, the old tree has something intriguing to say. Now this kinda went over my head when I was a kid, but it was after playing Klonoa 2 when I got older that I stopped and took a moment to process this. What does this big tree mean by accepting doubt and moving forward? At first I thought he meant to believe in what your self-doubt had to say, and succumb to doubt, but that wouldn't make much sense because self-doubt is typically a hindrance towards your forward movement. The way I see it, to accept doubt is to accept that life is full of uncertainty. When you first realize this, it's frightening. You don't want ifs and maybes, you want guarantees. We normally only want to do something if we know for definite that it's going to work out. It leaves you with a dilemma. It leaves you unsure as to what path you want to take. A couple of examples being, do I quit this miserable 9-to-5 job even though it's giving me income to pursue a living as a creative? Do I fall back in love again knowing there's a possibility I might face heartbreak a second time? I'm only just realizing why the element the old tree gives you is the element of indecision. Because doubt can lead us to feeling indecisive. To accept doubt is to walk through that foggy entryway and be prepared for whatever might come charging towards you. Or in some cases, it's diving right in and seizing the opportunity. Uncertainty will tell you, ooh, yeah, there's a chance that you're not going to succeed at this. But accepting that is going up to uncertainty and saying, I'ma do it anyway. We lose the attachment towards outcomes, being at peace with the absolute mystery that is the future and seeing it all through.
You know what? You can cross that bridge when you get to it.
Everything falls into place. Maybe not in the way we expected, but we find things that have their way of working out, so long as we remember to come to terms with doubt and keep moving. Did I mention I absolutely adore the Klonoa series? You're sat on your couch playing an absolute PS1 classic, Metal Gear Solid. You're holding your breath and nerves kick in when you're on the cusp of being spotted by the enemy. You're engaging in tense gunfights and even literal mind games against bosses. And occasionally you're watching some cutscene when, out of nowhere, you're hit with a big life lesson and a heavy dosage of philosophy.
There are no heroes in war.
It's time I took a long, hard look at myself. I want to know who I am, what I'm capable of. I want to know why I've lived the way I've lived until now.
A strong man doesn't need to read the future. He makes his own.
I was a fool. I wanted to be a soldier. But war is ugly. There's nothing glamorous about it. Go on living and don't give up on people.
Snake, you can have regrets if you want to. It's only natural. But you can't keep attacking yourself for things that happened in the past. That road leads to madness. Believe me.
Do you think love can bloom, even on a battlefield?
Metal Gear Solid is a philosophical gold mine. But I think one of the most impactful moments is at the end of the first game.
Not yet, Snake! It's not over yet!
Liquid!
Look, it's daylight. We're gonna crash.
You defeat Liquid Snake and the Fox die finishes him off. Everyone celebrates with a debriefing on the codec, but keeping in mind Naomi Hunter, who turned out to be a spy near the end of the game, also injected our protagonist, Solid Snake, with Fox die as well. They have a very emotional conversation over the death of Naomi's brother Frank Yeager, given the codename of Grey Fox, who was brutally put out of his misery by Liquid. When Snake asks how long he has left in light of the Fox die, Naomi just tells him,
"That's up to you.
What do you mean?
Everybody dies when their time is up.
Yeah, so when's mine up?
It's up to you how you use the time left to you. Live, Snake. That's all I can say to you."
Not quite answering my question, but okay. As Snake and Meryl, assuming you didn't bow out from the torture sequence earlier, make their way down to a nearby vehicle, you can hear Naomi give a monologue. But this part really sticks with me.
You mustn't allow yourself to be chained to fate, to be ruled by your genes. Humans can choose the type of life they want to live. Snake, whether or not you're in the Fox Die program isn't important. The important thing is that you choose life. And then live. Don't you think, Snake?
This might be open to interpretation, but when Naomi mentions allowing yourself to be chained to fate or to be ruled by your genes, she refers to Liquid Snake's bitterness towards having the recessive genes compared to his older brother, Solid Snake. Both genetic brothers, as part of the Les Enfants Terribles project, both have the same genes as Big Boss. Liquid lets this, as well as his past, dictate his life, his outlook and his goals, identifying with something that was beyond his control. We can apply being chained to fate to our own lives as well. You'll have external circumstances that can affect you in some way, shape or form, and we can believe that it'll dominate us, ruin our lives, and stop us from doing what we want. Snake and Naomi make an interesting example after you defeat Sniper Wolf as well, talking about her life as a Kurd and her upbringing.
Listen, we're not responsible for her choices. Everyone decides their own fate, no matter where they were born. Words like fate, karma, it's just an excuse for giving up if you ask me.
I don't agree with you. Maybe if she hadn't been born on a battlefield, she might have had a happier, more fulfilling life. She might not have turned into a killer.
Being chained to fate could also mean being passive and simply letting things happen to us, which is a double-edged sword. On one hand, you don't become attached to certain events, but on the other hand, you could end up a punching bag to whatever life or people throw at you. I understand that trauma and other conditions can heavily affect people and the actions that they take, but the main part of the monologue I want to focus on is choosing life. I believe you can still live your life and enjoy it as much as you can regardless of what cards you've been dealt. We aren't totally powerless and passive human beings, there are still elements in our life we have some form of control over, where we can take action. We can't afford to give up on life itself. Life is something I want to see through until the end, despite its twists and turns, its joys and its tragedies. That yin-yang balance of the good and the bad. Sometimes we just have to take a moment to ask ourselves, what kind of life do I want to live? What do you want to see? What do you want to stand for? Will you choose a certain career as a doctor, an engineer, or live outside the conventional ways as a writer, a streamer, or are you simply looking for peace? You might not have it figured out yet, and you might not feel too optimistic about the future. Finding love, an ideal career path, having purpose in life for an ultimate goal much like Solid Snake. Hell, I'm still figuring things out as well. I've noticed a lot of people call life a battle.
If it's not a battle, where's the fun?
Yeah, I might cover that quote in another video if people are interested. I hear it everywhere though. Life is a battle. Live to fight another day. Keep fighting. I know there are places in the world dealing with real, literal battles, and it pains me to see it. For those of us who are a little bit more fortunate, we may still have battles of our own. Battles at work, battles in our minds. But I'd like to think not every aspect of our life is a battle. What about when we're eating good food? Listening to good music, being in good company, finding something that makes us laugh. Sometimes life has its battles, other days it's more like a flow of a river. I've noticed a lot of videos popping up in my YouTube feed nowadays where people say that they're tired of living and that life is meaningless. There's always mention of a society or a system that's rigged our fates from the very beginning. And I'm kinda gutted this is our perspective on life, regardless of whether or not it's true.
So why are you here then?
Whether or not life has meaning, I can't say with total confidence, and that could be a whole other video in and of itself. But what I will say is, if it does have meaning, we can make our own. And if it doesn't have meaning, in a way, that gives us a little bit more freedom. Even Naomi brings this up.
Until today, I've always looked for a reason to live. But from here on, I'm going to just live. Living is a link to the future. That's how all life works. Loving each other, teaching each other. That's how we can change the world.
There's another quote that goes hand in hand with this one. It's a classic from Mewtwo in the first Pokemon movie.
I see now that the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are.
The things we can do and are capable of doing might just end up shaping not just your own life, but the lives of those around you. Maybe even the world. But we must be prepared to stare adversity, pain, and even that looming sense of futility in the face. You never know what's around the corner. New friends, new places, new experiences, whether they inspire or even hurt you. These experiences are like a raw material. You can craft them to become chains for your prison or gear for your gymnasium. Your experiences might just end up helping, influencing, or even saving the lives of later generations. Will you learn from your experiences and mold yourself into your greatest version? Or will you identify with your past and let it destroy you slowly? Whatever happens, lose to the point you get stronger. Accept doubt and move forward. Have fun. And above all, live.
Come on. Let's enjoy life.
Right, I think that's enough rambling out of me. Time to go out and do a little bit of living as well.
You mustn't allow yourself to be chained to fate, to be ruled by your genes. Humans can choose the type of life they want to live. The important thing is that you choose life, and then live